Supervisor McCann,
Here.
Councilman DePonzio. Councilman Bernard,
Here.
Councilwoman Miller. Here. Councilman Antelli.
Okay, would you please stand? Councilman Antelli will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll now have a moment of silent prayer. Okay, thank you. We'll now have the public forum. This is an opportunity to address the town board on any issues of concern relative to the town of Greece. It's not a question and answer period, nor is it a time or a place for commenting on previous applications that have come before the board. If you have a comment or question concerning an application, or if you'd like to provide the board with any type of paperwork, please leave it on the inbox located on the top of the lectern. The clerk will obtain all documents at the end of the meeting and disperse them to the board members accordingly. Please use the center aisle when approaching the lectern. Each speaker will be allowed 3 minutes to address the board in accordance with the town civility policy. Please state your name and address for the record. Is there anybody who would like to address the board?
Town civility problem, I assume you were talking about me. Ryan Murphy, 197 Old Country Road. I was actually looking at this, the community development block grant thing this morning because I had several projects that had been tabled over the past few years that all of a sudden popped up in the last few weeks. The Ladder Road development project was back on the planning board. I got the notice for the Flynn Road project that actually talked to Spencer and sent Mr. Antelli information about, and I'm going to address that during the regular public forum. But when I was looking into this community development block program through New York State, it said that in order to qualify, you had to be a town, village, community under 50,000 people in a county under 2,000, and it says it has a list on New York State's website of communities and counties that qualify, and it specifically says that Monroe County doesn't qualify, and there's no towns in Monroe County that qualify. So I don't know if you guys had looked into that or saw that, but it's just something before we vote on it, approve it. Maybe you want to check if it's something we qualify for. I may have been looking at the wrong thing. It was just New York State website when I was looking into it earlier.
I'm sorry, could you repeat? I didn't quite catch.
Like I went on the New York State website to look up the community development block grant. And the qualifications are a town, a village, whatever, with a population less than 50,000 or a county under 200,000.
These CDBG funds come from HUD under federal, not state. So
Okay.
it's totally
Like
outside of-
I said, I wasn't sure. I saw the community development block grant through on the New York State website, and it said specifically Monroe County doesn't qualify. I wasn't sure, just something I noticed. Wanted to.
I know that because I used to be the HUD rep.
Okay. Yeah. I believe we're an entitlement community. Irondequoit's an entitlement community. We get our own grants. Then the county, being bigger than 200,000, has an allocation that they share with the towns that don't get their own money. So I believe what you saw was
I was on the state site, so it may be something different. I wasn't sure, so.
Yeah, so if a county's not big enough, they might not get a CDBG grant, and then they have to apply through the state program.
Gotcha, okay. Like I said, I wasn't sure. I was looking into it because of the developments that have come up. I would say, before we get into certain programs, we may want to look at, you know, how they're going to be laid out, who's going to be looking into and overseeing development, just because there have been some issues in the past that we're looking at. You know, a lot of new developments that were tabled have been brought up or restarted, and we want to make sure development is done smart and in a way that, you know, everyone agrees with and aren't going to cause a lot of problems. So that was my main point when I was originally looking at it, is we just want to make sure everyone's on the same page and responsible people are in charge of these things.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board? Okay, we'll take no for an answer. All right. Being no further speakers, public forum's now closed. Before we get started with the agenda items, I would just like to point out we're going to have several proclamations, one recognizing the Officer of the Year, Officer Capitelli. We have an Eagle Scout we're recognizing, Giovanni Pellegrino, and two Golden Apple Awards, one for Nancy Kehoe and Eric Mock. And we also will be having a public hearing to consider the proposed amendment to the town's community development block grant on next Thursday at the meeting with that. So with that, we'll now begin the review of agenda items. Madam Clerk, please begin.
Item number 1, authorization to enter into various agreements for programs associated with the operation of the library. For further authorization for the supervisor to execute all necessary documentation.
Okay, is there any discussion among the board members? Okay, next item, please.
Item number 2, authorization to appoint Brad Quartert as a member of the Town of Greece Board of Assessment Review for a 2-year term effective October 1st, 2025 to September 30th, 2027, completing member Joseph Kamar's term, who has retired.
Okay, any discussion on this item? Okay, being none, next item, please.
Item number 3, authorization to amend the fee schedule to allow animal services to charge a $50 fee for rabies vaccinations.
Okay.
And do we know the current fee?
I do not know the current fee.
I think it's been vacant. It's been vacant since there's.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, is there any other discussion? All right, being none, next item, please.
Item number 4, authorization for the town and the Greece Police Department to enter into an agreement with Grease Ridge LLC to provide police services at the mall at Grease Ridge. Further authorization for the supervisor to execute all necessary documents.
All right, I see we don't have anyone here from the police department. Mr. Oberden, are you familiar with this?
Basically, this allows for one of the officers to be at the mall at designated times throughout the year. And really, I think they're trying to do it basically, just so they have this presence, just to kind of mitigate some of the issues that the mall has seen over the years. So it's just an agreement whereby we'll have an officer with permission at the mall in exchange a It's been done over the years. I think the last contract was entered into in 2022, and it had 3 renewal terms. Those terms have come to an end, so this is a new agreement, same as the last, kind of just restarting that agreement.
All right, thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, I just have a couple. Do you know what they pay us for that service?
It's I think I have to go back and look. It's an hourly rate, I believe, and it's based on the current charge that we would charge
Okay.
Rate that has been established by the police department.
Okay, and we're satisfied with that rate?
Yes, that's
Okay.
as far as that.
And do you know how many officers are staffed at the mall at any given time?
I believe this is for one officer to be at the mall during this time period. If there's special events, like if a particular store has a special event where they need more security, then it would be a separate agreement. This is basically, from what I understand, is one officer to be at the mall during the designated.
Would an example be, because I was very pleased to see that during this past holiday season that there's a significant Grease Police present at the mall, was that additional services that the town provided and that the mall paid for those additional services?
The mall certainly pays for those services. I can't remember if there was a separate agreement during the holiday time period, but this is certainly will allow for the police department to have at least one officer at the mall during designated times. And there are fluctuations, so for instance, for holiday times, if they need more officers, they have a great chart per officer. This is what's being charged. Depending on the classification of officer, the charge. So the higher up in rank you go, the higher the charge is.
Now, do you know, is it staffed, is there an officer, are they there pretty much during all mall business hours?
It's mainly during the mall business hours.
Okay.
It doesn't appear to be anything outside of the normal kind of, I don't want to say 9 to 9, but whatever the mall hours, right? I have to look at the agreement again.
Well, thank you for that. I would be fully in support of, if the mall wanted to have, contract with the town police department again for this holiday season. I think that was seriously, was very helpful and productive, so thank you.
One thing I'll say, based on previous discussions with us, the new rates reflect the increases in salaries that the officers are receiving. And I also believe that there has been an expansion. Actually, I see the deputy chief has joined us. Welcome. Do you know this? No problem. Are you familiar? Can you maybe just give us a little bit of the details, if you're aware of them, in terms of how this has changed? I think it's expanded.
For the mall officer contract?
Yes.
Yeah, so it expanded from 5 days a week to 7 days a week, which would show an increase in the number for the contract year over year with the agreement with the mall. I don't know what else was discussed. I apologize for being a few minutes late. And like you said, Supervisor, the increase in the salary. I think that was the two main factors in the increase in price.
Oh, yep. Go.
Deputy, do you feel that it's from your, you're the expert, do you think the mall has adequate coverage, or are you, in terms of Grease Police presence?
Yeah, I think it's adequate for the one officer to meet their needs.
Okay, and just for clarification, we've increased from 5 days a week to now 7 days a week?
Correct.
Oh, that's good, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other discussion?
Yes, Supervisor.
Yes.
Will it be the same officers? Is this something where the store owners can get to know this officer?
What kind of community, please?
Yeah.
I believe that they changed the terms on that. It used to be one officer. I believe that we're going to be rotating a small group of officers through the mall, but it'll be consistently
The
ones.
same faces, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other discussion?
I just got one, we're entering into, is this gonna be like another, 3-year agreement that,
Basically, a year-long agreement with renewal.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
And just so the board's aware, with any of these type of agreements, even though that there's a term for a year with renewal options, either party can provide notice to terminate it, whatever, for basically any reason on, I think it's 30 days notice, just so that if something happens and we're not comfortable, there is.
Thank you.
Okay.
And then does that, this agreement include that, is it called a substation? What would you call that in the food court there?
For lack of better term, substation, yes, it
Okay.
includes that. They
Okay,
provide
thank you.
that as part of the agreement.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, being none, Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Item number 5, authorization to set a bid opening date of Monday, April 13th, 2026 at 3 p.m. for the following: 2026 heavy equipment rental and construction services, 2026 concrete repair and replacement program, 2026 cold milling asphalt pavement and mixed compositions, 2026 asphalt repair and replace, 2026 ready-mix concrete, 2026 specifications to furnish and install various types of fencing.
Okay, any questions from the board? Okay, being none, next item, please.
Item number 6, authorization to award the following bids for the Department of Public Works to the lowest responsible bidders. Further authorization for the supervisor to execute all necessary documentation. The 2026 purchase of grass seed with the bid opening being Monday, March 16th at 3 p.m.
All right, any questions or discussions? All right, being none, next item, please.
Item number 7, authorization to renew the 2025 intermunicipal agreement with the Lake Shore Fire District whereby the town will permit the district to use the town's diesel fueling facilities and will receive reimbursement for the district's fuel usage. This is the second year of a 5-year agreement. Further authorization for the supervisor to execute all necessary documentation.
Okay, this one and then the next one is for the North Greece Fire District. Is there any discussions from board members? Any questions? All right, being none, if we can go to the next item.
9.
Yep.
Authorization to accept the dedication of highways, storm and sanitary sewers for the following: Whistler's Cove Lane in the Crescent Park subdivision, Section 12, Lantana Lane in the Lantana Station subdivision, Section 4.
All right, is there any questions?
Are these new developments, or are these that were septic tanks moving to sewers? These are new developments. Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Being none, next item, please.
Item number 10, authorization to abolish one full-time senior account clerk and create one full-time office clerk 3 effective March 14th, 2026.
All right, is there any discussion? Okay, being none, next item, please.
Item number 11, authorization to appoint one full-time construction equipment operator effective March 14th, 2026.
Okay, any discussion? Being none, next item, please.
Item number 12, authorization to appoint 2 full-time motor equipment officers effective March 14th, 2026.
Okay, is there any discussion? Okay, being none, next item, please.
Number 13, authorization to appoint 1 full-time laborer effective March 14th, 2026.
All right, is there any discussion? Being none, next item, please.
Item number 14, authorization to abolish 1 full-time dog control officer and create 1 full-time animal control officer effective November 6th, 2025.
Yeah, I do have a quick question. Is this just a title change, or is it a different job?
If you could use your microphone, please. Sorry.
We found that the person was classified in the wrong title, and they were supposed to have been changed back in November when the Civil Service Commission authorized us to use that title, so we're just correcting that at this point. And it's budget neutral, it's the same salary group. It aligns with their duties.
Okay, any other discussion? Being none, next item, please.
Item number 15, authorization to set a bid opening date of Monday, April 13th, 2026 at 3 p.m. for the Town of Greece refuse contract.
Is there any discussion?
Yes, Supervisor.
Yes.
Will the bid specs include any updated standards or performance metrics compared to the current contract?
So this is for pickup at town
Right.
facilities.
Yes, yes.
Right,
So
okay.
it's just the same, pretty much, just pick it up, that's it?
Yeah.
Nothing having to do with recycling or anything like that?
I believe it's a continuation of the, oh,
Continuation.
So the current contract is up, I think, at the end of this month. We're rebidding it so that we could award it, but it's boilerplate language that we used before in bids. There's a recycling component in there. Waste Management has the contract right now, but it follows the standards. We got a couple dumpsters here on campus, one at the parks and one at Maiden Lane.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
you're welcome.
any other discussion? And I would just like to point out for anybody watching, that is Peter O'Brien, the Recreation Director.
I have a question. I apologize. You just sat down. So forgive me. Does the senior lunch program, does the center, does it generate a lot of food scraps?
No, I mean, not particularly food scraps. You know, we're pretty low on our waste.
Okay.
But we have a disposal and, yeah.
The only reason I asked is because if we did, Monroe County does have a nice composting program that I didn't know if it would be something that maybe some point down the line
Oh.
we'd want to look into and engaging if we are generating food scraps at our lunch program or.
Yeah,
school
of course,
lunch program.
yeah.
Might be a nice.
Sure.
Nice way, and I think
Yeah.
the local schools participate in it too. So just something to throw out there.
Yeah.
Save the scraps from going in the landfill.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion? All right, being none, next item, please.
Item number 16, authorization to renew the roofing services contract with Elmer W. Davis, Inc. at the same terms and conditions. This is the final year of this contract with an expiration date of March 24th, 2027. Further authorization for the supervisor to execute all necessary documentation.
Is there any discussion? Okay, being none, next item, please.
Item number 17, authorization to renew the pest extermination services contract with Ladybugs All Pest Solutions at the same terms and conditions. This will be the final year of this contract with an expiration date of March 24th, 2027. Further authorization for the supervisor to execute all necessary documentation.
All right, is there any discussion?
Bug problem?
Yeah, no. No, just standard pest services. Being no other discussion, next item, please.
Item number 18, authorization to renew the contract with Waterwise of America, Inc. for water treatment services at various town buildings. This will be the third renewal of possible 4 renewals. Further authorization for the supervisor to execute all necessary documentation.
Is there any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, is this, are these like for water filtration and devices, or what does this mean? Thanks, Peter.
We have 2 cooling towers on the complex, one right outside these doors for Town Hall in this building, and then there is one over at the community center due to the size. So this company will come in and maintain, repair when we need to, the 2 cooling towers that we have.
Awesome, thank you, Peter.
You're welcome.
All right, any other discussion? Okay, being none, next item, please.
Item number 19, authorization to award the bid for Town Cleaning Contract 2. This bid opening is Monday, March 16th, 2026 at 3:00 p.m. Further authorization for the supervisor to execute all necessary documentation.
Is there any discussion? Being none, next item, please.
Item number 20, authorization to enter into various agreements for programs associated with the operation of the center.
Is there any discussion?
I just want to make a comment. I was, a resident had contacted me and asked me about this, and they were wondering if there was an actual list of the programs that were going on at the center. So I did follow up with Director O'Brien, who was very helpful and with his explanation. And the reason why is that the list is not prepared for this meeting is because what it does is it gives the rec department basically the authority to go out and solicit instructors, rec instructors or programs for kids and things like that, and then immediately, basically contract with them so they can perform the services and the programs for the residents. If we put each of those authorizations before the board, we only meet once a month. It would hold that up, and then therefore the rec department wouldn't be able to provide these programs and services that so many of us rely on. So I was grateful for that answer, and I appreciate it.
Okay, is there any other discussion?
Just a comment for Peter. I just want to give you guys a shout out over there. You guys do a phenomenal job. I was blessed to attend the daddy-daughter dance last month with my 3 girls. They had a phenomenal time, so thank you, and to your staff and all the hard work you guys put in. It's evident, so keep up the good work.
Okay, great. Any other discussion? All right, being none, next item, please.
Item number 21, waiver of the requirement for a new special use permit to operate a restaurant known as Dunkin' located at 1560 West Ridge Road, Monroe County Tax Number 075.17-1-14.1, requested by Bajaranji Network LLC.
Okay, are there any questions? Okay, being none, next item, please.
Item number 22, waiver of the requirement for a new special use permit to operate a restaurant known as Tully's, located at 1500 West Ridge Road, Monroe County Tax Number 075.17-1-13, requested by Tully's Grease, Inc.
Okay, is there any discussion?
Supervisor,
Yes.
Is this where the Wild Wings was? Where's this?
Actually, I know this because Director Copey told me. So, yes, it is. It's that former building. So
Thank you.
I want to make sure I cite the authority on that, Scott. So,
Councilwoman Miller's getting all the new restaurants in her ward.
yeah. Okay, next item, please.
Item number 23, authorization to apply to the Great Lakes Restoration Community Grant Program, GLR CGP, in partnership with New York State, Monroe County, and various nonprofit environmental organizations to secure funding for a multi-agency effort to combat invasive European water chestnut in Greece's waterways.
All right, is there any discussion?
If we were not to be awarded this grant, do we know what the cost would be if the town were to proceed on its own?
At least $500,000, right, Lisa? The project as it's currently proposed would cost in excess of $500,000 to hire contractors to do spraying and disposal of things. Lisa Minogue, who's the town's grant administrator, who's here with us this evening, is the expert on it, so I guess
Well,
if you have other questions, I would
Lisa
defer to
applied
her,
for the
but-
grant. I know we're going to get it.
There's
No, I
no
was-
matching, there's no matching local match on the part of the town, just, I say just Lisa's time, but Lisa's worked hard on this as well as Matt Morris in our department. And so it's a partnership with numerous agencies and nonprofit groups, including SUNY Brockport, who's gonna do the follow-up monitoring of the work. But, it's a twofold thing, really. It's invasive species for ecological purposes, which, the town has a great asset in the Braddock Bay Wildlife Management Area, but it also is an issue for recreational boaters. And that's really where the conversation began about a year ago.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you applying for that grant. Braddock's Bay is an absolute gem, so whatever we can do to protect it, I support.
Okay, any other discussion?
I just want to also comment that, great work on this, today, and I've had some of my constituents also who are along the lake reach out about this. So I'm just happy to see that the town is kind of taking a stance and really throwing everything we can to kind of help this situation and protect some of our greatest assets that we have here in the community. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilman. And any other
Yes,
discussion?
Mr. Super, I just want to second what Councilmember Intelli said. Thank you for doing this. Do we know how competitive it is? Is there a lot of people in New York State looking at this grant, or, sorry?
This is a Great Lakes grant, so this is all of the Great Lakes. So we're in the second round. We were invited to apply. We had to write a letter of intent, and then they kind of weeded people out, and then we were invited. One of the groups invited to apply. I think there were maybe 40 people on the call, but again, it's all of the Great Lakes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, being none, next item, please.
Item number 24, authorization to accept a donation to the Greece Police Department Cadet Fund in the amount of $616.50 from the Greece Storm Hockey Booster Club, Inc.
Okay, is there any discussion? Being none, next item, please.
Item number 25, authorization to extend the Gordian job order contracts in Regions 4 through 17, effective March 25th, 2026, and expiring on March 24th, 2027. This is the second and final extension. Further authorization for the supervisor to execute all necessary documentation.
Right, and the next item is similar to that. Actually, Director Easterly, would you be the expert on this? Maybe you could just give a brief, I don't mean to put you on the spot if you're not.
That's right.
Okay.
The Gordian job order contracts allows us, the town of Greece, to be the host agency. So what that is, well, go back, the regions 4 through 17 are throughout the state. It's the majority of New York State, barring kind of New York City and Long Island. And so what it is they're contracts for construction projects. They're not our construction projects, but we set bid dates and award bids. And because we're acting as that host, we collect a small percentage of the overall cost for the projects.
Okay, thank you. Is any discussion on this? Okay, being none, next item, please.
Should I go to right to 27?
Yeah, go to 27.
Item number 27, authorization to make various adjustments and transfers to the 2026 budget, list attached.
Okay, is there any discussion? All right, being none, next item, please.
Item number 28, authorization to appoint Patricia Anthony, Carla M. Palumbo, and Brian J. Riley to the Board of Directors of MuniPro to meet the requirements of MuniPro's bylaws. Ms. Anthony's term will expire on February 28, 2029. Mr. Riley's term will expire on February 28, 2028, and Ms. Palumbo's terms will expire on February 28, 2027.
All right, if I can take a moment to speak to this before I open up to questions and discussions. I had asked for the previous board member's resignation from MuniPro. You know, I am a former president of MuniPro. I was a board member when I worked here the first time. Really, we've discovered some issues that I find very concerning. You know, MuniPro is, we're the only town that I'm aware of anywhere in our region that has anything like MuniPro. MuniPro was created in, I believe it was 1996. It was used as a vehicle to lease property that the town was given by Kodak, and at that time Kodak's assessment was way over assessed. It was reduced, and part of the agreement at the time that then Supervisor Boyle and that board made was to accept these properties from Kodak and then lease them out. And some of the properties, so going back to 1996, 1997, this has been a very regular, very predictable revenue source for the town. And again, that's how a lot of the buildings on this campus were paid for without an impact to taxpayers with that. You know, every year going back all that time, MuniPro had provided about $500,000 a year to the town's operating budget. One of the things that came to light for us shortly after taking office, and again, I had heard a little bit about this, but being able to dig down into this, back in 2021 and in 2022, MuniPro, at the town's request and direction, sold the property up, it's Patty Creek, which are the properties behind the Olive Garden, and that there are 2 hotels there. And then also the Silo property, which was a former distillery, was sold. And that property was sold for $8 million at the time, which, you know, sounds like a lot of money. But these leases had escalating clauses where the payments were going to be going up every year. It was a very solid, very predictable source of revenue for the town. One of the things we've discovered is we're starting to review all areas of operation. The $8 million that the town had received has been spent and applied in a way that I am extremely concerned about, and I think it's going to potentially cause us problems in future years' budgets, and that's something we want to put on everybody's radar now with this. But let me just go over a couple things real quick. That $8 million that was collected in the sales, I would assume most people don't know about this, but there is a pavilion at Grease Gates Town Line Road that MuniPro built and then turned over to the town. So far to date, and it's not operational yet, there was a dispute with another property owner there in terms of easements and how the town handled that project. That pavilion, the town has spent $3 million on to date. And it's not done. I mean, I don't think there will be a ton of money left to spend on that, but that's $3 million that was spent. $2 million of MuniPro revenue was applied to the 2026 budget that we're operating on, under right now. And then MuniPro has roughly a cash balance of about $3 million left there. And again, as I said earlier, going back to 2021, the town realized $589,000 in lease payments. That was lease payments applied to the budget that helped keep taxes down. And again, the $2 million that was applied is really a one-shot revenue. And then MuniPro's actually generating $253,000 in leases. So we're going to have problems into the future meeting that $500,000 number that has been applied to the budget going back to 25 years with that. So, and again, also these lease payments would go on in perpetuity, right? Because the town of Greece hopefully is going to be around forever. And those properties up on Ridge Road are valuable, and I don't think them not being desirable leases is anything that would even that happen in any of our lifetimes. So I am very concerned about what was done with this. And like I said, I asked for the resignations, I received the resignations, and what we're doing with this proposal here is we're having 3 people that we're appointing to the board. Patricia Anthony is a former town clerk who worked here. She was also, I believe, a contract officer for MuniPro back 12, 15 years ago. Carla Palumbo is an attorney. She's a former county legislator who now lives in Greece. And Brian Riley is in the county attorney's office, and he has a very solid background, even previous to his work in the county attorney's office in municipal law. So there will not be a town employee on the board, but obviously we're going to continue a very close relationship. Obviously, we're going to be staffing it. Town staff will be attending those meetings. And again, we're going to work with the board. We're having a couple, right, we're going to need to generate revenue in order to plug what we feel is very well could be a substantial hole in our budget moving down the road. Like I said, $2 million went into the budget this year. MuniPro's cash reserves are about $3 million right now. And again, that's not what the pavilion's not done. And again, they're generating half of the lease payments that they were. So that's why we're doing this. We will be putting out some information on the town on the town Facebook page at some point before next Thursday's meeting. But and again, one other thing I will say with this, all of these people are incredibly responsible, very talented people who are community and civic minded. And I think importantly, I think there's again, if this gets approved by the board, I think this will be historic in that we will be appointing a Republican, a Democrat, and somebody who's a political independent. So I don't think that's ever happened before in my frame of reference for this, but that's it. So I just wanted to give a little bit of background in terms of why we're doing this, and I guess I can leave it at that. So is there any discussion from the board members at all? Yeah.
The previous administration, their 2026 budget, do you know what revenue they put down for, what did they project MuniPro's revenue was going to be for this year? Was it 500,000 or was it the reduced amount?
If I understand you correctly, are you asking what the town budgeted that would be coming in from Munipro for 2026?
Yes.
We budgeted the 2 million because that was what was approved in Munipro's budget.
Okay.
So I think another point with this, so there's, right now, we're anticipating $253,000 in lease payments, and then about $100,000 in interest income. And with the rates coming down, and hopefully that'll continue, that will be less. But we would be operating at a deficit to meet that $500,000 goal just based on the lease payments. But we have had some discussions about possible sales of property that we own there, we being Munipro with that.
Thank you. You articulated my point better.
Okay.
Thank you.
All
I
right, thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Yes, Supervisor, question. The pavilion is an outdoor structure?
Yes, it's an outdoor open-air pavilion.
How is an outdoor open-air pavilion not operable? What's like it deficient in right now?
So there are restrooms there that do not operate
Right.
because there is not power there because of a dispute with the adjacent landowner who, there are issues with that.
Oh, so no electricity?
So we do have an easement, which the adjacent property owner was not willing to grant. He has granted that probably about 2 weeks ago or so. We have an easement, so we can go ahead with that.
Okay.
But I think the electricity is necessary for the bathrooms,
I
right?
see.
Right, Mr. O'Brien, right? Okay,
Thank you.
okay.
You said that we know that Munipro gave the town 2 million this year. Is that what you got 500,000 or you got 2 million this year and you're projected 250 and change next year, or you have 250 and change this year even though you were budgeted 2 million?
Yeah, no, yeah.
I just wanted to, like, I heard it and I wanted to clarify. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so there's a budgeted number in our budget of $2 million, which there's money for, and that transfer will happen. But what we're looking at, again, just based on lease payments and interest, is about $365,000 is what we have in annual lease payments coming in. And again, I don't want to be overly dramatic with this. We are optimistic that we're going to be able to make some land sales. But again, the lease payments were a guaranteed source of revenue that really never had to be worried about with that.
And I'm sorry, so just so I understand, it was always a consistent 500,000 a year, and now it's reduced down to this 360, so it's less.
It will be less
It will be
in
less.
the future,
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
It's 500,000, I've got a chart here going back to 2019. That number, I remember when I was involved with Munipro, that's what the number was. So that's been going on for probably 20 years. Next year, we're going to be struggling to hit the $500,000 number. And again, we're going to be looking at selling property to help meet that next year and then also in the future.
Okay, so Munipro took 2 million out of the reserves, gave it to the town for the budget. And
Right.
that's a separate than the 500,000 a year that the town has been getting in revenue has relied on as revenue from Munipro
So, yeah, it's usually 500,000, it's 2 million this year.
this year. Understood, gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right, I want to, okay, go ahead, Mr. Bolson.
Brendan Bolson, 440 Shore Cliff Drive. With the Munipro lands that you potentially might have to sell down the road, would there be an option to have a similar situation where that land could be leased and set up in a lease situation?
Right, that would be driven by the market, and again, I think a lot of the property that we have, and actually, I'll try to show my expertise on development, Mr. Copey. So a lot of the land we have is the canal frontage. I don't think that necessarily lends itself to lease payments as opposed to property on Ridge Road does. But again, I would love to be able to find a permanent, stable source of revenue. And again, we'll work with these folks on the board. And again, you know, I guess I would also say about these people, I would like to think that if we the administration went and asked them to do something crazy, I would really hope that they would say no. So, and I feel like this group would, so.
Thank you.
Speaking of that, quick question. So did MuniPro end up selling Island Cottage?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the end of the agenda. What I would also just like to make an announcement. We will be going into executive session here. We have several issues which are allowed under the open meetings law where we're able to go into executive session. I'm sorry, say that. Okay. Okay, okay. So it's litigation, there's a personnel matter, and that's it, right? It's just those. So I think what we're going to do is, so the meeting, actually, Mr. Overton, do we have to come back into session? Or? Okay, okay. So what we're going to do, out of an abundance of caution, is we're going to go to a different room. I trust Mr. Cantor in terms of turning off the recording equipment and all of that, but we just figure we would be safe and leave and go to another room. Yep. 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 Right. So yeah, we would need a motion in a second to go into executive session, yes. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
I'll make a motion to go into executive session to discuss ongoing litigation.
Second?
Okay, moved by Councilman Bernard, seconded by Councilman Antelli. Is there any discussion? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Item carries, and that's it. I guess what I would ask is everybody on that side of the dais, nothing personal, but with the exception of Commissioner Gurnett, come with us. We'll go to the Riley room. Mr. Copey, if you'd come to the Riley room with us, and then the board members, feel free. So, thank you.